Yeah.
I cry
Well,
every time I see it. I cry. I'm just like,
well, speaking of collections, we all have, of course, we all have more than one artist that we like. So I made Batman choose 3 covers that are recent from artists that he really likes. I did the same thing. So that way everybody can see, as the slide says, top 3 covers from our favorite comic book cover artists. I got to figure out how to shorten that stuff sometimes because sometimes these things are really long named. But anyway.
But I digress.
First one Batman gave me was Greg Capullo.
you can't
And
go
this
wrong.
cover of Batman and the Joker. I mean, that is so sick, dude.
I've always liked his work. He doesn't miss when it comes to Batman or Joker. He draws them so well that I can't help myself but to keep reading. I don't care if the story's good or bad. I just have to keep reading.
Yeah. That's an icon, Capullo. Like, I mean, he's just...
And he's still grinding out work, like, left and right. Like, he hasn't slowed down at all.
And Spawn, the Dark Knight Metal series, Batman and the Court of Owls, like everything he draws is so well. I love his shading alone. Even the darker areas kind of tell a story of what he's leading to. I love it. I love all his work.
I need to get that. I can't stop thinking about. Let's bring it back up real quick because I'm gonna have to order this at some point. It's so good. Hold on. So Batman and the Joker. It's so good. What a cover.
Beautiful. Look at his face. Look at the eyes.
Yeah. Oh.
It almost looks like he's wearing like a face mask.
Mm-hmm. Like in Death in the Family, where he cuts off his face and he puts it back on.
Staples it back on or whatever. Yeah.
It's cool because if you look at his eyes and his mouth, it really renditions to who is it? Jim Lee, the Hush storyline, the cover where Batman the Joker and the Joker's eyes are like big and he's smiling. It kind of resembles that, but he just kind of makes it his own, and that's what I really appreciate about him.
I agree.
For sure. And then, well, we've already looked at that one. There we go. This is my current still favorite Momoko cover that came out.
Doctor
Came
Strange.
out back in 2021. It was White Fox, The Death of Doctor Strange. It was a one shot.
I'm sure Caption Life is loving that one.
Oh, yeah.
Huge Doctor Strange fan.
That's crazy.
And who else do we got in here? We've got Jorge Jimenez.
The whole Failsafe series, you can't go wrong. You can't.
He's another one, man. He's like the shading he does is so heavy, but it works.
Yes, and then he does this thing where he adds a lot of dark to his covers or his artwork primarily, but he throws in splashes of very vibrant colors to make it pop, and I love that. He really like gets your attention. Like if you need to look somewhere specifically, like right there, where do your eyes lead?
Straight to the yellow.
Exactly. That's what he wants you to focus on. Whether it's that or the depiction of Failsafe when he first comes out, you notice the red right away. Boom. You're like, he wants you. He knows where to draw your eyes. I think that's what he's gonna get really good at this. I already know he is.
Well, and then speaking of red, my next pick right here is David Nakayama, which he does a lot of red covers. But this one of Scarlet Witch is so dope. How he managed to make that hair blend that well and then also like not blend into the background so much. Like it's not easy to work with that many similar colors and not make it all just bleed together.
See, that's where art is kind of thrown in, because David Nakayama, he knows whether it's the She-Hulk covers, X-Men covers, Scarlet Witch. He does. I love his Spider-Man work. All his Spider-Man David Nakayama covers, they're beautiful.
He did one. Was it Daredevil one where with the variant where Daredevil was in a spider suit?
Oh yeah.
That was a really good one. I should have grabbed that one. So we've got Lee Bermejo. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You know what? I've never really got into him. I just really appreciated his covers. I was like, yo, who is this? And my boy Longbox, actually, shout out to Longbox on TikTok. He was like, oh, this is Lee Bermejo. I don't know if it's Bermejo or Bermejo, because obviously I'm Hispanic. I'm going to roll my R's. But I really, really do enjoy this man's artwork. It kind of brings some realistic forms of obviously like the villains, and he does a lot of Batman, a lot of Joker, but his realism, I love his realism. It brings like a different flow to a comic.
Well, and it's not that strange realism that Alex Ross tends to do sometimes, where it's like overly realistic to where like I've heard a couple people describe it as uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's right at the point right before. I truly understand what you're saying too, because people do say some renditions of Alex Ross get really in depth. He stops right before that. Like the with that cover alone, it's like the Joker's face. He's kind of like that sinister smile, and then to the right, that little kid crying, holding a little Batman toy. I love it.
That's
I
so
love
good.
every aspect.
That's so good.
It's such a Joker thing to do too. Like sit there, oh, kid's coming up in a Robin outfit, we got to make him cry. Like,
I mean, it's an eerie kind of art, but it's realism enough where you're like, oh, I can get into this. I can. All his Batman work is great, all of it.
and then my last one on here is going to be Megan Levin. She does a lot of work over at IDW and a lot of indie stuff, but specifically her work on Star Trek books lately has been phenomenal. If I don't know if you guys are Star Trek fans, but this particular series she's working on is a direct tie-in to the Star Trek Strange New Worlds television show. So this comics run takes place in between seasons 1 and 2. So it's like a continuation of the story, but during the season break, and then it's going to end right when season 2 starts on Paramount. But the likeness that she pulled off with everybody in these books is spot on. I mean, all these characters look exactly like the actors that play them. It's spooky. It's also, and her work's very vibrant and clean.
Is that watercolor too, or is that like that? It looks different from.
I believe it's a blend of hand done penciling, and then the color I believe is done digitally.
Okay,
but I could be wrong on that.
It's nice though.
Like I said, it gives off a Star Trek vibe, man. I mean, it's simple, it's clean, it looks just like the actors. You can't really ask for much more than that.
I really like their use of like bright, vibrant colors. And I did notice how you say actors look like that. They really do. They really do.
And I've seen a lot of books adapted from shows or whatever, or games, and like they look like the person, but they don't really look like the person. Like they give them extra muscle, or they give their hair extra like weird colors or something. Nope, she kept like, I mean, it looks like the actors, because I assume they're trying to stick to the story plot pretty intently. So, but anytime you can successfully tie in a comic book run to an ongoing show and like make it all actually in canon or continuity, whatever word you prefer on that one, dude, that takes a lot of attention to everything that's going on.
Also, there's something to be said for the fact that it's hard to not put your fully go nuts and put your own stamp on something, right? So if you're trying to stay in line with keeping it as close to the show as possible and the likeness as possible, as an artist, I'm sure people want to like go crazy and do the Peach Momoko effect, or or Frank Cho, or there's a myriad. So there is a talent to being like, I'm going to keep this in the vibe of the show or the movie that I'm emulating here. And that's something that's also commendable. We don't see enough of that these days.
Everybody tries to reinvent the wheel, and you don't need to. If it's something that's already working, just stick with it.
Yeah, that's an art form in itself as well.